Hello, my name is Rajan Arora and welcome to my video series Insights of Cloud Computing. You are watching the video of Module 2 Basics of Cloud Computing, Part 5 Risk of Cloud Computing. If you are new to this series, please start it from the series overview video for better understanding. Thank you. Cloud computing offers a tons of benefits, but just like anything that promises a tons of benefit, in many cases, there is also at least one, if not a few risks that might be associated with those benefits, and that's the case with cloud computing as well. So first off, with cloud computing, one of the risks is that you are placing your trust in the cloud provider. Meaning, if you store all your data in Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure and one of those services goes down, you no longer have access to that data. Now, those cloud computing providers may invest millions or billions of dollars to ensure that their service never goes down and maintain high availability. But not everything is within their control, and cloud providers, like any other provider, occasionally experience downtime or performance slowdowns. So you are putting your complete trust in them. As I have stated, cloud providers now perform things that would appear insane in traditional data centers. I am talking about redundant connections into the building, massive amounts of power and cooling, hardened data centers, extremely high level of security, and then they have redundant data center all over the world. You also need to consider how your application is designed, because you can specify that your data is replicated to multiple sites with these cloud providers. But not everyone does. So, if you don't use the cloud provider's high availability services, you are essentially accept the chance that the cloud provider will go down. You also need to be aware of service level agreement, which is the agreement between you and the provider that say that if the cloud provider does go down, what they will provide to you in return. So, there could be some financial benefits back to you or refund service fees if the provider goes down and you cannot access your data or application. Data loss is a possibility, just as it is when you keep your data any place. It is possible that it is on your personal PC. There is always the risk of data loss. But with a cloud provider, if you place your whole trust in them and store all of your data with them, and then that data is destroyed, you only have yourself to blame, right? As a result, you might constantly have backups. Even if you put everything in the cloud, you can back it up from one cloud provider to another, or you may back it up locally to your own data center or computer. Yes, you can back up your Gmail or your Office 365 documents. You can back up all of that data that's in the cloud. So there is always the potential for data loss with any service, with any storage, and that's just a risk that you need to keep in mind anytime you store data really anywhere. And then, just like the potential for downtime, there is also the potential for slow access to your data. I mean, you are separating yourself from your data, and let's say that massive amounts of data, or perhaps that data grows massively over time. If one day you decide to download all that data or move it to another cloud provider or move it to your own data center, you have the potential for very slow access to that data, and that's just something to keep in mind. After all, your connection to the cloud is only as fast as your network connection to the internet, or perhaps you have a private connection to this cloud provider. But in most cases, it is the internet. Another is to be aware of its potential questions related to legality or regularity. For example, financial or government entities. They can't just store their data in the cloud anywhere, for example, out of the country. They have to keep in mind government regulation and the law associated with the data that they are storing and the data they have to protect. Now, if you are talking about your own personal email, this isn't something you have to worry about. But if you have a company and you are storing medical data, health data, employee data, financial data, or credit card data, or any other data that's regulated by the government, you are going to have to take into special consideration which cloud provider you use and where they are storing your data. Then there is the potential for loss of customization. If you run your own let's say financial application locally, you can customize it all you want, assuming you have the source code or the ability to do so. But when you move to a financial application, let's just say as an example in the cloud, that cloud provider is going to share access to that single application to everyone, and it's likely that you are not going to have much control or as much potential to customize that application as you would on on-premises application. And then there is a potential for unknown cost. If you purchase, let's say, your own server and storage and software application and run everything locally, you know exactly what the costs are going to be. When it comes to cloud computing, there may be scenarios where you consume much more than you anticipate that you would consume, and you end up with a much larger bill than you anticipated you would receive. That's something to bear in mind once more. When you create virtual machines in the cloud, for example, you pay by the minute or by the hour for those virtual machines. So, if you forget about them and leave them on all month, you can end up with a considerably greater bill than you anticipated at the end of the month. So, those are the risks of cloud computing that you should be aware of. Everything has risk, right? There are risks associated with simply getting into your car and driving down the street. But cloud computing provides numerous advantages. From here on out, I suppose we will be mostly focused on all of the advantages, but I am glad you took the time to educate yourself about the risks that come with cloud computing. If you like this video, please do share, like and subscribe to my channel for more such videos. Thank you and see you in the next video.